What if someone from 2,000 years ago predicted the world we live in today? These are not myths. They are real prophecies that came true. Let's begin with one of history's most chilling predictions, from the Oracle of Delphi. In 560 BC, King Croesus of Lydia asked the oracle if he should attack Persia.
If you cross the river, you will destroy a great empire.
Croesus took it as victory, but the empire destroyed was his own. It's one of history's first double-edged prophecies, both true and fatal. But Greece wasn't the only empire guided by prophecies. Deep in ancient Rome, within the hallowed temple of Jupiter, priests guarded the Sibylline books. Legend says they were acquired from the Sibyl of Cumae, who offered 9 books of prophecy to King Tarquinius Superbus. When he scoffed at her price, she burned 3, then 3 more, each time demanding the original price for the remainder. The stunned king finally purchased the last 3. These scrolls, written in cryptic Greek verse, were not simple predictions. They were divine instructions, believed to hold the key to maintaining favor with the gods and securing the destiny of Rome. These were not almanacs of the future. The Senate authorized their consultation only in moments of extreme crisis. Terrifying plagues, military catastrophes, or unnatural prodigies that signaled divine anger. After the devastating defeat by Hannibal at Cannae, a shaken Rome turned to the books. The priests interpreted the verses and prescribed a shocking ritual: the live burial of 2 Gauls and 2 Greeks to appease the gods. The books didn't predict the battle, but they offered a path back to divine harmony. They were an infallible remedy for the state's darkest hours. But this divine lifeline was tragically severed. In 83 BC, the Temple of Jupiter burned, and the original books were lost forever. So vital were they to the Roman psyche that envoys were sent across the world to gather a new collection. This replacement was housed in the Temple of Apollo for centuries, until the early 5th century AD. As Christianity rose, the Roman general Stilicho, a devout Christian, ordered the pagan books to be burned, viewing them as relics of a superseded faith and a threat to the new order. Just a few years after the final scrolls turned to ash in 410 AD, Alaric and the Visigoths sacked the Eternal City. Was it mere coincidence? Or had Rome, in destroying its ancient spiritual compass, sealed its own fate? Perhaps the loss was not of a magical shield, but of a psychological anchor. By burning the books, Rome severed a link to its own history and traditions, losing a source of order that had guided it for a millennium. The prophecy wasn't in the books, but in the act of their destruction. Far across the ocean, another prophecy awaited: the return of a god. The Aztec Empire, with its magnificent capital Tenochtitlan, was at its zenith. Yet, its worldview was steeped in a cyclical destiny, a belief that their age was fragile and that powerful gods who had once walked the earth would one day come back. The Aztecs believed Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent god, would return from the east. A benevolent deity of wisdom and light, myth told of his departure on a raft of snakes with a vow to return. He was a unique figure, a creator god who opposed human sacrifice, and was often depicted with fair skin and a beard. The prophecy said he would come in the year 1 reed. This specific year recurred only once every 52 years in the Aztec calendar. As the early 1500s approached this date, a series of terrifying omens gripped the empire. Comets, temple fires, and ghostly whales, all interpreted as signs that the prophesied return was imminent. In 1519, that exact year, Hernán Cortés arrived in Mexico. His ships were seen as floating mountains. His men, with their pale skin and beards, riding strange beasts and wielding weapons of thunder, seemed to be the divine party made real. For Emperor Moctezuma, the signs were undeniable. Emperor Moctezuma believed Cortés was the god returned. He sent emissaries with lavish gifts of gold and feathers, offerings fit for a deity, not tribute for a conqueror. He then made the fateful decision to welcome the Spaniards into his capital, an act of piety that sealed his empire's doom. Within 2 years, the empire was gone. The prophecy of renewal had become an agent of destruction. Was this prophecy fulfilled, or weaponized by destiny itself? Modern scholarship debates whether the legend was a genuine pre-Hispanic belief or a story embellished after the conquest, a way for both sides to explain the catastrophic collapse. The line between faith and fatalism had blurred, leaving a civilization in ruins. But not all prophecies spoke of empires and conquests. Some of the most profound warnings were about the inner world of humanity, and one of the most startling came not from a god or an oracle, but from a mortal man who achieved enlightenment, Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha. In the final days before his passing, around 483 BCE, the Buddha shared a sobering vision of the future. He didn't predict the end of the world, but the fading of its antidote. He foretold a time when his teachings, the Dharma, would enter a period of decline. This era, known in some traditions as Meipo, or the Dharma Ending Age, would begin roughly 2,500 years after his enlightenment. During this age, he warned, the essence of his message would become obscured. People would find it increasingly difficult to grasp the path to liberation. Do the math. The Buddha's enlightenment is traditionally dated to the 6th century BCE. Add 2,500 years, and the timeline points with unnerving accuracy to our present day, the 21st century. Look around. The Buddha warned of a world consumed by the 3 poisons: greed, hatred, and ignorance. Today, we see them amplified on a global scale. Our culture champions endless consumption, a form of institutionalized greed. Our digital spaces become echo chambers of anger, a new face for hatred. And what is the constant barrage of information, the endless scroll of distraction, if not a powerful form of ignorance? A state of being so overwhelmed with noise that we lose the ability to see the truth of our own minds? The prophecy described a world of sensory overload, where our attention is the most valuable commodity, mined and sold, leaving us perpetually anxious. But was this a sentence of doom or a diagnostic warning? Some interpretations suggest it's not an inevitable end, but a challenge, a call to practice with even greater diligence. The question remains, are we the generation living out this ancient spiritual forecast, or can we even now find the signal in the noise? And then, the prophecy no one listened to. Roman priests warned that the mountain above Pompeii breathed fire. People laughed until the sky turned black. In a single day, fire and ash buried Pompeii. Graffiti discovered in the ruins reads, "Beware the mountain." The prophecy came true, too late. From Delphi to Pompeii, these predictions changed history. Were they coincidences or proof of something beyond time? One thing is certain. Every legend begins with a warning. Which prophecy do you believe came true? Like, share, and subscribe for more ancient mysteries. Until next time, listen closely. History might be whispering to you.